But why don't we get him on the line now?
Is he there?
I think so.
Is he there? Is Mr. Branson in the house?
There he is.
Oh my gosh, larger than life. Hello, hot stuff. Meow.
How are you, Richard?
I'm good. Can you hear us okay?
We can hear you great. You
I
look
think
great.
so.
You're literally larger than life. You're on the
I
largest.
think what I'm going to do, because I'm seeing my face, and I'm going to try to just cover myself up so I'm not talking to myself. 1 minute. Just put this over the screen. Somebody got rid of it.
Wow.
There you are.
Well, you look great. You look amazing.
No.
Don't put it on the camera. We need to see you. We need to see
Hey,
you.
so-
You're so funny.
So, Richard, first time I met you, you had asked who was hosting this one event, and you want to have dinner. So you came over to our house. Richard comes over by himself, believe it or not. He had a driver. And we had a good time that night. And it got to be late, had a couple of glasses of wine.
Just a couple.
And we walk out to his car, and the driver is just like white. He says, "Sir, I'd left the light on, and
The battery's
the
dead.
battery's dead." And I look at Mr. Branson. What's he going to do, Mr. Cool, right? Like, is he going to ream this poor kid out? Is he going to sigh? And all you did was turn to me and go, "Looks like we need another bottle of wine," right? And you did not make him feel bad. And so I've noticed this time and time again, that when things are not the way you expect them to be, you've been able to somehow have this mindset that says, let's go with what we got right now. Why? How does that happen? What does that,
Where's that come from?
where does that come from?
I just think it's important to treat people like you want to be treated yourself. I think I was lucky. From a very young age, I was brought up by a good mum and dad, and then we were never ever allowed to stay ill of anybody. If we did, they sent us to the mirror for 10 minutes and said how badly it reflected on us. And we were brought up to always look for the best in people, and I think that's held us in good stead. I think if you're a leader of people, it's absolutely essential that you're always you're praising people, you're not criticizing people. People know when they've done wrong; they don't need to be told, and they'll work all the harder to make sure that they make up the next time and they don't make the same mistake again. So I think that it's held me in good stead.
I would agree. Richard, I talk about kindness as a strength too. When you named our company Kind Lending, and I say that being kind, really it takes inner strength when you want to, when things don't go well and you just want to, people sometimes just want to react, and the greatest strength is to not react when you could and really annihilate somebody, because you're right, they know they did wrong, they know. So it's important to maintain those values.
Yeah, I think for you as an individual, if I've seen people, recognized faces, and somebody will come up and ask them for an autograph in the street, and they'll just brush them aside and not stop and just do a quick autograph or a quick picture, and it's hurtful. And I actually think it most likely should be hurtful for the person, the celebrity who says no as well, because they must have, if they got any decency whatsoever, a slight niggle that they haven't treated somebody well. If they haven't, they're very sad people, I think.
Agreed.
Yeah. Now we're with mortgage brokers, right? We're all salespeople at heart. You're probably the ultimate salesperson I've ever met. And when you have that mindset, it's more, and you seem to do this very well, and Tim spoke about this, that it's more about giving than getting. You've been the most generous human I've ever seen, and you lived your life in a way that it's never been about the money. It's been about really other people's happiness. Your culture is amazing at Virgin. Can you kind of elaborate on that, because I think it's real important for a lot of us as we build our business to kind of understand that mindset of how the more you give, the more you get.
Well, I do think that's the case, and you know, life is it's surprising how you know, if you make a gesture to one person, it'll come back to you. So you know, if you're selling somebody a house or selling somebody a mortgage, and you do it in a pleasant way, that person is obviously going to recommend you to somebody else, and it ricochets on. If you're if you're unpleasant, they're certainly not going to recommend you. So you know, I think basic genuine decency is really good business sense, as well as being, you know, a much nicer way of spending your life.
I gotta say, when we've been with you, you've never shied away from helping and serving others. You pick up the water, you pick up the tea. Can I get you anything? And I've always been so impressed with that. You're no job is beneath you, and you are so interested in making sure everybody has a good time, and that just says a lot about you too.
Well, you two are like that, exactly the same. So we better not spend all this time patting each other on the back.
Don't get lost. I will say one thing about you. I'm sorry, didn't mean to.
I think what hell and high water you've been through, Glenn, and how you just come bouncing back from the absolute bottom, and enormous hugs to you for that. I mean, it's been a tough time, but
he's a trooper.
Well, I appreciate it. It's, you know, again, it's like anything, right? I mean, you focus on, well, at least in my mind, I focus on what I can control. The things you can't control, you might as well not give it any energy, because what good will it do, right? And you've taught me a lot of that stuff. I mean, I remember the time you said, hey, do you want to go with me on the Virgin Galactic? I said, I absolutely do. I want to be on the first one with you. And you said, well, let me see what I can do. And then there was the big mishap, and you text me and you said, do you still want to be on the first one with me?
This kind of segues into the idea of getting lost, and I don't want to lose that point, because what I love is some stories about your mom and your family when you were young. She would drop you off to find your way home. Glenn's mom, same thing. They would go, they'd drive, they'd get lost. Talk about being lost and finding your way back, and how that shaped your life experience in getting lost and finding your way back in business.
So I think my mum, would be arrested today for some of the things she did to her kids all those years ago. But she did it with the best intention. She just, wanted to bring us up to stand on our own 2 feet, to be independent, so literally age 6, she shut me out of the car and told me to make the 3 miles home to my grandmother's house, and I crossed the fields. Did get a bit lost, ended up in a farmer's house, and then of course my mother regretted it enormously. But I think I think trying to I've had to now watch my son climb the Matterhorn, and it seems to have got ingrained in our family that adventure is something very special. He had to watch me do some fairly adventurous things, and life has been that much more rewarding and satisfying from saying yes. I mean, yesterday, you may have read, we announced that we're going to start be involved in a company that's going to take people to 100,000 feet in a balloon, and launch off a ship. And there's no way I could say no when somebody asks me whether I'd like to do it. I think one of my mottos in life is the brave may not live forever, but the cautious do not live at all. And that can get you into lots of trouble, but life is a lot more fun that way.
I love that. That's one of my favorite things you say.
You know, we talk about mindset, right? And you know, when you started out with Virgin Airlines, you ran up at the little problem with a small company called British Airways, right? And then when you started Virgin Cruise Lines, a little thing called COVID hit you, right? And yet you've always seemed to have that resiliency. And so, you know, again, we go through what we all do every day, and I know it's all relative, but do you mind touching on a little bit of that, and then what got you through those things?
So I mean, I built a business from scratch, and we've had, you know, every time we think that things are going reasonably well, something comes and swipes us, and that's a good metaphor for life as well. I mean, I suspect that everybody in this room listening have had those moments when they think things are going well, and then something comes along to shake them up a bit. And I think in situations like that, you just got to work, you know, day and night to try to overcome whatever the problem is. And you know, if you succeed, great. But if you don't succeed, and whatever it is that you love is, you know, you can't rescue. Then the next day, you just got to put that behind you. You know, pick yourself up and move forward again. And I think I'm lucky at Virgin that we've got fantastic people. So by and large, we've got through these crises. You know, you know, if you take COVID, you know, we had our two first cruise ships come off Virgin Voyages from Italy, and literally they arrived in the UK, and then all the headlines were, you know, people stuck on cruise ships all over the world from COVID, and yeah, we had a very sweaty 18 months, but we came through, and now Virgin Voyages is winning all the awards, and it's a really fun ship to go on. And
I can't wait to redeem our credit. We were supposed to be there for your birthday cruise, the first one, and so we still have some credit. We still got credit.
We look forward to getting you on it. You won't. My grandkids are not very happy with me because it's adult.
Oh, that's cold.
And
we're there.
We
got to get.
You should
send me a video or something like, "Papa, we love you, but."
But we love you,
not
but
coming.
yeah, that's when you take the whole cruise ship, invite all your friends with their kids. That one, we'll be there. Call us.
Exactly.
We've got some questions from our brokers, Richard. Before I know, we got a few minutes to ask some questions in the audience. So where are our questions? I know we had someone's coming up. Here we go. Go ahead. There we go. Is it on? Should be on.
Check this.
Yep.
This is on? Okay, great. So Richard, you've found success in so many industries and been a disruptor each time. What are some mindset tips you could share with a mortgage broker seeking to be a disruptor?
So one of my slogans is keep things stupid. Keep things simple, stupid. So I think, you know, if you're trying to get a message across, you know, just keep it very simple. Let me give you an example. I mean, like, you know, climate change. If somebody's talking about climate change to somebody, they'll go through a lot of very complicated stuff to explain climate change. But a simple way of saying it would be, there's a blanket around the world, and every time people emit carbon, the blanket's getting thicker, and if it gets too thick, the world's going to heat up too much, and we're all going to be in trouble. Or if you're talking about what causes carbon, something simple like, you know, don't dig up the dead. Anything that's underground, like, you know, coal or oil should be left underground, and anything that's above ground, like solar or wind, is clean. So I mean, I think just generally in life, try to keep all your messages as simple as possible, and I think you're more likely to get a sale if it's simple and clear cut than if you try to overcomplicate it.
Clear cut. That sounds
Amen.
good. Next question.
What's the best morning routine advice you would give to an entrepreneur?
Morning routine advice for an entrepreneur.
So I think for all of us, the most important thing in our lives is health. As Glenn has obviously been through no fault of his own, hell and high water. So health is everything. So I mean, I believe that you've got to find 2 or 3 hours a day to, especially as you get a little bit older, to make sure that you are as fit as anything. So I get up really early in the morning. I'll play a hard game of tennis. I'll make sure that I spend 20 minutes in the gym every day. Twice a week I'll go for a major bike ride. Do 4,500 feet climb twice a week. Go kite surfing. Anyway, just do fun things to keep really fit and healthy. And then obviously eat food you enjoy, but make sure that it's healthy. It's as healthy as possible. Now, that sounds potentially boring, but it's not. I mean, you can be fit and healthy in a fun way. So, let's say you're watching television and you want to watch a film. You can use some bands or something in front of the television and work out while you're doing something else. But you've got to be reasonably strict about it. What I've seen is people reach 50 and they either let themselves go, and you can tell that they're just going to go on a downward spiral, or they say, I'm going to I'm going to enjoy the next 50 years of my life. And the ones that enjoy it are the ones that look after themselves.
I would say you're enjoying life really well. I will say the last time we were in Necker, everybody was going to go on a sail around the island on he's got these little Hobie Cat sailboats. But Richard was out on his kite surfing. He went out to sea, came back, went out to sea, came back, and then they sailed all the way around the island, and Richard kite surfed all the way around the island with the cats, the whole way. Like, you are unbelievable on that.
But I like that one better because the year before, Richard, we all went out to go sailing, and you said, all right, and you grabbed all the ladies, put them on your sailboat. We had about 5 other boats with a bunch of guys didn't know what we were doing. He sails around the island. Finally, we get there. You're in the jacuzzi with like 10 ladies.
So apart from the fact that I prefer to the company of women and men, women also weigh a lot less than men, so I'm no fool. That's why I win the sailing race.
Yeah.
That's so amazing. So we have another question here. Go ahead.
We're all in different eras in our career life. What's the best advice you could give to an entrepreneur?
Best advice. Wow.
So it depends what stage of being an entrepreneur you are. If you're trying to come up with an entrepreneurial idea, you want to come up with an idea that's going to make other people's lives better. I mean, that's the first thing. Come up with an idea where your team are going to be really pleased about the work that they're doing. They really enjoy what they're doing. As an entrepreneur, you must be a great motivator of people. You must be a good listener, and you must. I think you need a good notebook so you can write. Go out, listen to your teams, and listen to your customers, and write things down to improve what you're doing, and then action. action what you've written down. Anyway, those are a few thoughts.
Those are really good thoughts. And also one more he missed was find a really good partner. Right? A really good life partner.
I think that one thing that Glenn did was, getting through trials and tribulations is very much the partner you've chosen, and I don't know, Glenn got that one right.
We did all right. Yes, I did. So did you. Joan is an amazing woman. So we both did very well. Now, we do an event. We've done events, Life Changing Lives. We did
the Surviving
and Thriving. Forgiveness. A lot of events with you on your island. Explain a little bit, if you don't mind, because what we've kind of teased out there, I think we do have a little video. I don't know if it played or not. It didn't play yet. But what to expect maybe on, and a little bit about Necker.
I did tell them that your island really is adult Disneyland. So it is the happiest place on earth. So talk a little bit about what people do.
So Necker is I'm biased, but let's call it the most beautiful island in the world.
Yes, I'd agree.
It's got more species on it than any other island in the world, even any Galapagos island. So, we've bred something like 2,500 flamingos. We've got scarlet ibis. We've got giant tortoises. We've got lemurs. We've got kangaroos. We've got everything you can imagine. Every corner you turn, there's something magical you come across. We use the island to try to change the world, and we have incredible sort of get-togethers of incredible people here. Right now we have a group of people, like the main people on AI, we came up with another group called Audacious Ideas, where we map out the biggest things in the world that need fixing, and then we bring some of the wealthiest people in the world to the island to then turn them upside down and give them a shake and try to get enough money to fix these big issues in the world. And so in the mornings it's always sort of quite serious and lots of discussions, and then in the afternoons people have fun, the tennis and sailing and partying, and I think that's the kind of balance that people should try to get in their lives is work hard, play hard.
Yep. Tell me a little. I know the story, but I'd love for you to tell our friends here about how you acquired Necker Island, and the fact that a lot of times we think something may be too big for us, but you have a great story on how you actually acquired the island.
I was trying to impress. I was 28. I was trying to impress a lady, and somebody said, "Did I name Virgin after the Virgin Islands?" I'd never heard of the Virgin Islands, but I pulled out a map, saw where they were, and I rang an estate agent and pretended I wanted to buy an island. I had no intention of buying an island, and they sent 2 airline tickets. And I sent one to this lady, and she turned up at the airport, and we went looking for islands, ended up. They laid on a helicopter, ended up flying over Necker Island, falling in love with it, falling in love with her, and they wanted $6 million for it, and I thought I could maybe scrape together $70,000, and I offered 75. And they took away the helicopter, and we hitchhiked back to the airport. But a year later, nobody else came to see the island, so we got it for a song, and obviously it cost a penny or two later, but by then we'd had a successful record company, and people like the Rolling Stones and others that we'd signed were beginning to make money, and so we could start building and developing it. And I'm still with the same lady 50 years later, so that's we're very
Hey,
lucky.
yes.
There you go.
That's well done, sir. Well
So
done.
speaking of that, what would you say you are most proud of? And I'd say both personally and professionally.
Both
Personally and
this
professionally.
way. So I think personally, we've just been very lucky that our parents would stay together all their lives. We've been together. That's helped with our kids and keeping their relationships together and our friends. And so if one's very lucky, and in this day and age there is an element of luck involved, I think. That is a blessing if it can work. Business-wise, I just love creating things we can be proud of, and I love it when somebody flies in Virgin Atlantic and says it was the best airline they've ever flown on, or goes on a Virgin voyage and says it's the best cruise they've ever been on. They go to space with us and say it's the best space flight they've ever been on. Anyway, obviously, it's a great feeling, and so I've never gone into business with the idea of making money. I've gone into business to create something we can be proud of, and then hope that more money comes in every year than goes out, and we've just about stayed ahead over the last over since I was 15 when I started in business.
I love it. You've always, everything, you have the Midas touch of adventure on everything you've ever undertaken. I notice you're doing these things around the country and the world, like adventures, jumping off buildings and things like that. That's recent. That's a new adventure, right? Isn't that something you've been doing with these kind of exciting, go off a building, rappel down from a skyscraper, and you've got a lot going on in that.
I've always been into adventurism. My kids set up something called the Strive Challenge, which which we do at least once or twice a year, where we go and we just came back from Bhutan, where we did biking, hiking, climbing, and we now do a Strive Challenge on Necker a couple of times a year and around the BVI. And that helps in the fitness regime. So we've got something to aim for, which always helps when you're trying to get yourself really fit.
So I have one last question, and it was asked of me last night, so I'm going to ask you. And it's really because you don't seem to have any of it. It's fear. A lot of us sometimes we look at something and fear will stop us from moving forward. Why do you feel that hasn't been an issue in your life, or has it been?
I think people would be dishonest if they said they didn't have fear, and I suspect it wouldn't be a very sound thing to have, to be completely fearless. So I think worrying. If you're setting up in a business, it's very important to think, what could go wrong, and to protect against the downside. So, if X happens, then how are we going to get out of it? And you've got to ask that kind of question if you're in business. But if you're also doing a big adventure like trying to balloon around the world, and things go wrong, then you may not come home. So you've got to think, well, if this happens or that happens, how do we get out of it? And hopefully, on most occasions, you'll be able to get out of it. So, I've had moments in my life where I've been unbelievably scared, when things have gone horribly wrong. Like when we were crossing the Pacific in a hot air balloon, and we lost 50% of our fuel 1,000 miles into the trip. And on paper, we had no chance of surviving, no chance of getting across the Pacific. But somehow, got right into the core of the jet stream and saw the speedometer go up from 75 miles an hour to 150 to 200 to 250 miles an hour. And some little star up there was guiding us across, and although we missed LA, which we were aiming for by 2,000 miles in the Arctic, we were alive and survived. So
wow.
So there are moments that I've definitely experienced here, and I think that's a healthy thing to experience.
Well, you're a man of incredible bravery and inspiration, kindness, and motivation, and you are guiding and leading the world in beautiful directions. Thank you for all you do and bringing leaders together to solve the problems of the world. I mean, I can't believe you only come up with top 6, because I'm sure there's a few more. But we are really grateful for your time.
We are. We're very thankful for your friendship, Richard. You've meant a lot, and it's been more about that kindness and just kind of being a big mentor to me. Literally, you're a very big mentor to me.
Thank you both for your kind words, and well done with the conference. And I'll leave you to get on with it. And best of luck to everybody in the audience as well.
Thank you, Sir Branson. Love to Joan, and we'll see you soon. We'll see you on Necker.
Thank you.
Bye.
Alrighty. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Aw, that was great.
He's an amazing man. He really is.
That's special.
And again, we not from kind lending, but just from ourselves. There's an opportunity to go in September. So if you guys are interested, let us know. I think we got a QR code. But again, it'll benefit Virgin, and it's really neat to be able to hang out in proximity with people
once in a lifetime type
that
thing.
can
It's
really
really
help
special.
change your mindset.